Hi, everyone. So let's do an all signs reading today. We're going to start with Aries and work our way all the way through to Pisces. We'll spend a couple of minutes on each sign and try to get at least a couple of messages for each of these signs. And I have ancestor messages. I have a tarot deck that we will use to do this reading. And there will be timestamps in the description and in the pinned comments if you just want to look for your particular signs and your placements, the signs that are most important and relevant to you. So here we go. We're going to start with Aries. So we're starting with intuitive person. Be fair and watch how your life changes. Oh, I love this for you, Aries. This is a really great way to start this particular reading because anytime you use your intuition, your life changes. For those of you who've been watching my channel for a while, we talk a lot about the lazy river and how the universe and our spirit team guides us down the lazy river. And if we're going in that direction, we're always going to end up where we're supposed to be and watch how our life changes, right? If you're trying to swim against the current, if you're trying to swim upstream, if you're trying to do things that you know your intuition is telling you not to do, then we always say you're going to exhaust yourself and you're going to end up in the wrong place. So I love this for you because it's telling me that you are an intuitive person. You do know how to hear and tap into your intuition. And when you do, you'll see how your life changes. This Be Fair card, though, is reminding me that perhaps you need to be more fair to yourself. So if your intuition is telling you something, maybe perhaps you're being persuaded, let's say, by another person and your intuition is telling you something else. There is a message here about making sure that you don't abandon yourself in the situation. So there's Seven of Pentacles, Knight of Cups. I was just talking about another person, and the Queen of Pentacles. So whatever this is, I do feel, Aries, that you are dealing with a person in this situation, and your intuition is certainly calling you to do something regarding this situation. I get the sense that this person is not being fair, or perhaps you are not being fair to yourself. I think you've already spent enough time in this situation with the Seven of Pentacles that I think you understand that you've put enough work in, you've put enough plans into motion, whatever this is, that you know now, because you have taken the time, you know the answer now. And understanding what's the fairest way that you can be to yourself. And once you do that, then you will see how your life changes and you'll end up in this very grounded type of Queen of Pentacles energy. So, for example, if there is a romantic person here, because the Knight of Cups is often a romantic person, if this is someone who's ever left you feeling heartbroken or hurt or feeling lost, or you feel despair, or there was a breakup and you know now, this is saying trust what you already know. Trust what you already know and watch how your life changes and be fair to yourself. And I just saw 333. So what else do we have for Aries? We have release this, confident person, and having enough to share. So this confident person, that is you, Aries. I mean, that channeled message may have just have been about you, Aries, because that's what you are. You embody confidence. You know your self-worth. You know your self-value. You're very confident and you're fiery, and you bring that out into the world. You're the leader of the zodiac. So if there is something that needs to be released, this is about tapping into that inner confidence, that being fair to yourself is going to be paramount to all of this, is understanding that don't abandon yourself in this situation. Tap into your confidence, know what you deserve, know what you value, and make sure that you're releasing the things that don't match that. Because the rewards are here. We're having enough to share with the Queen of Pentacles. And I feel like this is just another message of perhaps knowing that when you do release things and the universe takes you where you need to be down that lazy river, then you're always rewarded at the end. And so I do feel like if this person that you're dealing with, if this is still talking about that, This person may be very good at charming their way back in, because this person may have a high confidence level too. And so it may throw you off, which is why you're still in this particular energy. So maybe watch for that. Wow. 10 of Swords, Wheel of Fortune, and the 2 of Swords. So this is very clear, Aries, that you are struggling right now between releasing someone or something that you know your intuition is moving you away from. But this has been very clear with the cards that we pulled for you, that the way to get the energy to shift, the way to get this ball rolling towards having enough to share and getting to the right place and getting your rewards, is making a very clear decision that this needs to be released. You already know what you know about this situation. Trust what you already know, Aries. You know. Release it, and the wheel will turn to help you make that decision, and then your rewards will come. So that is what I have for you, Aries. So let's move on to Taurus. So for Taurus, we have cooperating, student, and use discipline. So Taurus, for some of you, you might actually be students, but I think for most of you, this is going to be about a spiritual lesson. And I do get the sense that there is something here that you're being called to really put your nose down and do the hard work and do something to learn this lesson. So we'll have to see if we can get more clues about what this is specifically for you. But there may be a person in your energy with cooperating that you're meant to learn a lesson from. And often with interpersonal relationships, most of our interpersonal relationships are about teaching us about ourselves, because the interactions we have with other people are the ways that we become self-aware, the ways that we learn about ourselves, the way we learn our triggers when certain people trigger us, whatever that is. So it does feel like there's a strong need here with use discipline and student to really look at this lesson or study for the lesson. Maybe there's a test that's coming up for you, and that could be an actual test in school, or this could just be a spiritual test. I think for most of you, this is going to be about a spiritual test. There's the 5 of Wands, and I was getting an energy that perhaps someone was triggering you. 6 of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles. Well, the Knight of Pentacles is the most disciplined card in the deck. And Taurus, you're very good at being disciplined. So what this is telling me with this 5 of Wands is there could very well be someone in your energy who is triggering you. And maybe perhaps you're struggling to just turn the other cheek and move away. But I feel like with student and the 6 of Swords, this is really saying to do that even if this person is triggering you, find a way to cooperate with them and move on. Just say, oh, thank you for your opinion, and close the door and move on with your day and go back to eating your cheese sandwich or whatever you were doing. But I know it's going to be hard for you because we have use discipline in the Knight of Pentacles here. So that tells me that you turning the other cheek in this particular situation is going to take a lot out of you. But I feel like that's the spiritual lesson you're meant to learn right now, that you're meant to move away from this. And whatever it was over here that perhaps you really wanted it to work, or perhaps you were being loyal towards it, because cooperating and the Knight of Pentacles are both very loyal and faithful and reliable types of energies, which you often and always are, Taurus. You're very reliable. You show up for work every single day. And so I feel like there was something here that you really wanted it to work, but it just didn't work. And so there is a need to just say, okay, you know what, agree to disagree, and I'm just going to move on. Because sometimes when we try to convince other people of our side of the story, there is no convincing someone else to see it from your perspective. The best thing you can do for yourself is to move forward, use discipline to do that, and then you'll learn that spiritual lesson that you were meant to learn here. And it's really, I think it's going to help your nervous system too, because you're going from this 5 of Wands to a 6 of Swords. The 6 of Swords is a card of escape. So you're escaping whatever this particular triggering energy is for you. And so I feel like that's also going to be the hidden benefit from just moving away from this and agreeing to disagree. So then we have intelligent person asking for help and escaping. Look, there's that escaping again. We're getting escape twice. So I think this is probably part of the same story, but we'll see as we go. But I do know that you know the smart thing to do with all these swords is to move away from this. There is that grounded part of you, Taurus, this reliable, I show up for work every single day, Taurus part of you that still wants to help, that still wants to fix this, that still wants to go back and make sure that that you can understand, or these people or this person understands your point of view. But sometimes it's just futile. Sometimes the answer is just to escape the situation. And I feel like this is the same message that's coming up for you again. So this could be confirmation for someone. So there's the World, which I'm going to flip over. But this is, again, this is about wrapping it up, Taurus. This is about, it's time. It's time to say, this is over. There's nothing more I can do in this situation, and I'm just going to get out of Dodge. Look at that. We were just talking about your nervous system, and that moving this way and escaping is really going to help. Because I feel like the more you try to convince this person or this environment to see your point of view, the more it's just upsetting you. And then we have Strength. So again, this is confirmation, Taurus, that I feel like it's going to be difficult for you. We did have Use Discipline show up here. And so I do think that this is going to be difficult for you to just agree to disagree and move on from the situation and just decide that you can just get out of Dodge and don't worry about these people or this situation anymore. There's a spiritual wisdom that's coming through here because you started as the student. We saw it right here. But you're moving into this Strength, which is really about spiritual wisdom. It's about controlling your impulses. It's knowing that there's more to this particular situation, this particular lesson. You're meant to ascend. You're meant to rise above this. And so I feel like that's part of the test is Taurus able to rise above this situation by moving away from it, freeing your central nervous system and learning the spiritual lesson. So I think in this situation, Taurus, is really kind of just keep your sense of humor. Try not to take this so seriously. I think that's going to help you escape, because I do think this is going to take a lot out of you. It's going to be very draining for you to accept that you're never going to be able to change this person's mind or this environment or whatever this is for you. I think it is going to take a lot out of you. So I would say with this Strength card here too, to understand that there is spiritual wisdom that's coming from this, and to try to keep your sense of humor when it comes to it. And you are going to feel a lot better when you get out of this situation and you escape from it. So Taurus, that is what I have for you. So moving on to Gemini. So for Gemini, we have Taking for Granted. We have Aha Moment. I love that for you. That's a very Gemini type of energy. And Thinking of Memories. So there's something nostalgic clearly coming through here for you, Gemini. There may be things that you're thinking about from the past. But I also feel like there is a strong spiritual wisdom that's coming through here with this aha moment. So the taking for granted, this is generally about emotions and maybe perhaps understanding that you don't have to do the same thing over and over again that you've always done when it comes to your emotions. When you think back on the past and you think of, well, this is the way that I see love, or this is the way that relationships should be, or this is the way that, well, whatever that is for you, Gemini, I think you'll know what that is. But I think that whatever you used to think, and these two cards are very emotion-based, taking for granted and thinking of memories. And so I do think that there is an emotional situation around you that you thought of in one way and thought it would always be a certain way, but you're waking up to something else. You're having that epiphany, that aha moment, that, oh, wait a second, Maybe the relationships I'm in don't have to always be this way, or maybe these problems that I have in relationships, there's a way that I can confront them. Or I'm making things up right now, Gemini, but make it make sense for you. But I feel like there's been a major shift in your energy about the way that you look at perhaps soul connections or some kind of interpersonal relationships, or even the way you look at yourself. You could be having an aha moment that it's not the way you always thought it was, that there's something else, something bigger, some lesson perhaps that can be learned. So then we have King of Pentacles, the Fool, I love that, and the Five of Cups. Okay, this is starting to become very clear. So for example, because I'm seeing this King of Pentacles here, maybe Gemini, you thought that you always needed to have a person in your life, or maybe you felt like you needed someone for stability. But the aha moment that's coming over you right now, Gemini, is this idea that you don't need anyone else. You just need yourself. Because it looks like when I'm seeing this Five of Cups here, that the problem may be that when you rely too much on other people, they let you down. They don't meet your expectations. And so I feel like the lesson, the strongest lesson coming through this, Gemini, is to rely on yourself and really pour that, whatever it is, whatever you thought or believed about love, if you felt like you needed another person around you, or if you needed someone to support you financially, you're coming to this realization that you don't need any of that, that none of that is actually true. That because when you do that, when you go into situations looking at it a certain way, they're probably not going to meet your expectations with the Five of Cups. So this aha moment, this Fool energy, it feels like your spirit team is just kind of plucking you right out of this situation so that you can rise above this and see it from a higher perspective and say, well, why does this person always disappoint me? Why do these relationships always end up in disappointment? Why is that? Why do I always end up in these same situations? But I do feel you waking up to the fact that there is a higher perspective. There is more spiritual wisdom to be learned from this, because you won't disappoint yourself. Other people might, but you will not disappoint yourself. And once you start to look at yourself that way, then of course you're going to attract in the people who won't disappoint you, people who match your values, people who want to be around you because you are a wholly grounded and well-rounded person. Then they're going to want to be in that energy that matches yours, and you're going to want to be around them, and they won't disappoint you anymore. But right now, this is about you finding your own stability and not needing to find stability in another person. This is about your spiritual growth for sure, Gemini. So what else do we have? Cheating to win, taking care of yourself, and loving each other. So this feels a little bit like the same message, because whatever this was that this person did to disappoint you, it just feels like the two of you, there was maybe some kind of a power play at hand, that perhaps because you needed something from them that they weren't giving you, and your expectations were too high and they didn't meet those expectations, or it doesn't matter what that is, Gemini, because you're going to know what I'm talking about when you apply it to your situation. But this taking care of yourself is that same message of making sure that you find that stability within yourself, that you find that growth within yourself with the Fool, to move away from situations that constantly disappoint you, so that you can move into a relationship that's more love-based and less about power plays, and less about struggles, and less about tug of wars, and more about just actual, true, unconditional love, where you don't have to worry about that anymore. And I think it starts with you realizing that you don't need, whoever this is, you don't need anything from this person, not for stability, not for anything, because you have everything you need within you. So there's the Three of Swords, which makes perfect sense in this scenario. Queen of Cups, that's you taking care of yourself, Gemini. And the Three of Cups, okay, this is perfect. So Gemini, this is the same message, more of the same, that this idea of whoever this was you were relying on just consistently breaks your heart, consistently lets you down. There's consistent conflict or whatever that is. This is about trusting yourself. This is about knowing that you can do for yourself whatever it is that you wanted this person to do, but they disappointed you. That's very clear that this is what this is. This is about just pouring that love that you used to pour into this person back into yourself, because that's where step one of finding your happiness, your joy, your playfulness, all of those things that come from you and inside of you and your inner child. And that's going to lead you straight to your soul tribe, which is what we were just saying, that you're going to start attracting in the people that are just like you and know how to love themselves. And the Three of Cups can be about a new group of friends. The Three of Cups is sometimes my spirit team card. So this is just about keeping it light, living in the moment, having fun, taking care of yourself, and understanding that these relationships that you thought you needed with taking for granted, you thought you needed these relationships or these type of people, that's the lesson. And you're realizing now with that aha moment that that's not what it's about at all. It's about loving yourself and finding high vibing people. So there you go, Gemini. That is what I have for you. So let's move on to Cancer. So for Cancer, we have just jump, pursuing, and winning. Wow, Cancer, are you fired up about something right now? Because it feels like you are. It feels like you are ready to pursue what looks like it could be a passion project with pursuing and winning. And just jump is like that, putting your faith over fear and just going for it. So Cancer, I'm really curious about what all of this is for you, but it does really feel like there is something that you want to chase down, even if it is a little bit terrifying for you. And because you know it's what's meant to be for you. It's like you can feel it. There's a devotion to whatever this is that's coming through. It feels like there's like just a lot of fire coming through this for you, Cancer. So, but I do think that with the just jump, that there may be things about it that are a little scary, that are still unknown to you. It's still a little bit of a mystery about how it's going to go, but you just feel very purposefully driven towards whatever this is, Cancer. Wow. So there's the Nine of Cups, the Four of Cups, and the Devil, which we're going to flip over. So the Nine of Cups is really saying that you are getting what you want. And with the Four of Cups with the Devil, I really like this for you, Cancer, because it tells me that perhaps there was something you used to do in the past that had you tied back and prevented you from pursuing your dreams. So make this make sense for you, but there was certainly something with this Devil energy. So whether it was an attachment to a physical thing, like an attachment to overspending or drinking or overeating, make it make sense for you. Or there may have been a person that was holding you back, that you were codependent with or attached to in some way. But I see you turning your back on that. You're saying, nope, that's not good enough for me anymore. And so Cancer, I really get the sense that this is why you're fired up now, because it's like that tie to whatever that attachment was has been snipped. And now you can go and pursue your dreams, and you're getting what you want with this Nine of Cups energy. I feel like this just really feels like you have a lot of faith. You're definitely putting your faith over fear, and you know something is coming. It's like you can just feel it in your soul with pursuing and winning, because I feel like you haven't quite reached that winning finish line yet, but it's like you know somewhere deep down that you're going to. And so you're just really standing by whatever this is. And the Four of Cups energy is really saying that I feel like you have figured out which cups to choose and which cups not to choose, that these were all the karmic relationships in your past, or these were the addictions you had in your past, or whatever this is for you. And you're realizing that the universe is offering you something better now. And I think that that's why you're pursuing this. I feel like this is why you're so intense about this now, why I'm getting all this fiery, passionate energy from you, because you're willing to face your fears now, because you understand that whatever was happening with this person or these addictions or whatever it was for you personally. It's like you bridged a gap between you and your dreams by cutting off whatever this was. So Cancer, this is pretty exciting. Let's see what else we have. Holding on tightly, compassionate person, and wrap it up. Okay, so for some of you, Cancer, this is a continuation of the same story, but you may have been holding on too tightly to another person because you may have felt bad for them. And I feel like oftentimes in codependent types of situations, that is exactly what happens, is we feel compassion for the other person, so we allow them to stay longer than we really know that they should, or they overstay their welcome and we let them because we feel bad for them. And I feel like that's what happened here. But I do think you're ready again to put that faith over fear and wrap this up, knowing that this was a spiritual lesson, that you were meant to ascend above this person and know when the universe is giving you a blessing and knowing when to just allow things to fall by the wayside because it's not meant for you to hold on to anymore. So there's the Four of Wands, the Three of Wands, and the Emperor. This is about your ascension because I know that you are releasing this person. I know that you are. We saw it in the last spread. So you understand that those cords are being snipped now between the two of you, and that's a huge milestone for your spiritual journey. That is something you can be proud of and celebrate, that what you used to hold on to, you're not anymore, and now you're reaching this level of ascension that you're taking control of your life back. And with the Three of Wands, this goes back to that passion project or whatever it is you're now pursuing that you know you can win. The thing, Cancer, that you are so in love with and pursuing and chasing down, that's the thing that you know is coming in. And as we said, I don't feel like you've hit that finish line just yet, but I feel like you're about to. And I know you think you're about to. You can see your ships coming in. They're just not here yet. And then I love this Emperor energy for you, Cancer, because what this tells me is you took control back in your life. And people will sometimes ask me, well, what does that mean to take control back in your life? And what it means is, if you were to look back on this particular situation, let's say you were holding on to a person just because you felt sorry for them, and you ask yourself, am I happy in my life? And the answer is no. And you ask yourself, is it because of another person? And the answer is yes. Then that's generally a sign that you are not in control of your own life. But you wrapped it up, you cut the cord, and now you're in this Emperor energy, which tells me exactly that you are in control of your own life. You got the control back, you pulled the control back, and you said, you know what, I have to release this person because I need to go chase my dreams. I need to go do something else. I need to not be in this particular energy anymore. So you put a finality to this situation with the devil. You ended that. You left it behind. You had your closure with it. And you understand that this person has their own karma that they have to go clean up, their own karmic spaghetti that they have to untie. And then all of a sudden you're just free of all of this. Just absolutely free, so that, Cancer, you can just jump. Go on to the next thing. Go on to the next passion project because you are spiritually ascending. So there you go, Cancer. That is what I have for you. So moving on to Leo. So for Leo, we have leader, being stressed, and putting a final end to this. So Leo, that leader card, I feel like that very much, you embody that leader energy. In fact, the King of Wands is my Leo card in tarot, and that's also my card for boss. So I feel like there is something here that perhaps you are being a leader, you are setting an example, but it's too stressful and you're ready to end whatever that is. So if this is a work situation, for example, that's become too stressful, maybe you're taking on far too much responsibility and you are feeling like this is coming to an end. You feel like you're about to wrap something up. It doesn't necessarily have to be a job situation, so make it make sense for you. It could even be an interpersonal relationship that's really stressing you. and you're feeling like it needs to stop because you're tired of perhaps taking the lead or perhaps carrying the weight of something. So we have Page of Swords, Five of Pentacles, and the Seven of Wands. So you know what this is about, Leo? This is really giving me a strong message that you have a person around you who is really good at playing the victim. Someone who's really good at perhaps saying, well, I don't know how to do that, so can you do it for me? Or someone who's really just not carrying their weight. And I got that with leader. It feels like there's a person here that just really isn't doing their part. And so it's adding a lot of stress to your life. And it feels like there's a strong polarity between you and this person, because you're showing up as a leader and they're showing up as this Page of Swords. So it feels like something is very much out of balance. That's the equilibrium needs to be restored within you, Leo, because it's very much stressing you out. And this person is just keeping you locked in their victim mentality, where perhaps you feel like you have to rescue them all the time, or give them things, or whatever it is that you're doing that this person is convincing you to do. But I feel like it's a little manipulative, in the sense that I'm getting a sense that they play dumb or they play victim, or there's something there. But what I love for you here, Leo, is that I do see you putting an end to this, because I see you not lowering your standards. You're done with this now. These other Six Wands, this is them acting dumb. This is them pretending that they're a victim. This is them saying, please feel sorry for me. This is them. Do you see what I'm saying? You're done with that. You're saying, you know what? I'm going up here now and I'm done with that. I'm not going to lower my standards. I'm going to put a final end to this because it isn't going anywhere. So what else do we have for Leo? Listen to your intuition, regretting, and romantic person. So for some of you, this can be a romantic situation that you're in. For some of you, this will be work, or, make it make sense for you, because it's going to be different. But I feel like if there was once a spark with this person, I feel like you're really regretting ever getting involved with this person in the first place, because I get the sense that your intuition has maybe been telling you for a little while now, Leo, that it's time to move away from this. But I think you are moving away from it. So it almost feels like it's just a repeating or redundant type of message. Oh, I see. Okay, so there's Knight of Swords, the Sun, and Justice. Okay, so with this Knight of Swords, I feel like this person is realizing that you're pulling away. I think this person is realizing that you're slipping away. So I think they just turned up the intensity a bit on the relationship, that perhaps they've become a bit more aggressive, or a bit less of, oh, woe is me type of energy, and more like, oh, look at me, look how much fun we have together, look at us, like that. Because they realize that their tricks aren't really working anymore. That's what this is telling me. That they're coming in hot now because you are actually starting to listen to your intuition, and that's really scaring them. But I think this Sun energy is also telling me that you can see this clearly. Your intuition is really shining the light on this for you, that this person is just not the one for you. And that it doesn't feel like this person has a lot of discipline. It feels like they want to be taken care of, like they want you to mother or father them. And then when you stop doing that, then they start acting in a different way. This is what this feels like, a bit of a shapeshifter. Someone who's capable of more, but they dumb themselves down just to have other people perhaps take care of them. And I do think with this Justice card here that we were just saying that it feels like it's out of balance, that there's some equilibrium that needs to be restored here. And I think the universe is really coming to help you, to help advocate for this, because you're listening to your intuition. I think that this person could be hit with their own karma for what they're doing, but it really doesn't matter to you, because you're going to be moved on from this. So that is what I have for you, Leo. So let's move on to Virgo. So for Virgo, we have holding yourself back for fear, spontaneous person, and opportunity for love. So Virgo, is there a new person in your life that you're feeling right now? If there's an opportunity right here, and you're feeling like you want to go for it, but you're not going for it. You're holding yourself back. So what is this, Virgo? Is there a person here that you're scared of being rejected by? Let's see. So there's Temperance, there's the Moon, there's that fear, and the Page of Pentacles. So Virgo, this feels like a really good energy. It feels like there is, I feel like this is you alchemizing. Like you know there's a person standing in front of you that you want to make this offer to. Perhaps this person has already made an offer to you, because we have a Page of Pentacles right here. I feel like there's a spiritual lesson here though. So in the past, Virgo, did you miss perhaps an opportunity with someone in your past because you were too afraid to ask them out or approach them? Is there something like this coming through this reading, Virgo? Because I feel like this is a spiritual lesson for you about alchemizing these ideas that you can be spontaneous and face your fears and be rewarded greatly at the end. So if this applies to you, Virgo, if this feels like you're reading, these cards are very much saying to go for it. Face your fears, take the offer, make the offer, whatever it is. Either someone came to you or you want to come to someone, but you're holding back. But I feel like there's a strong spiritual lesson that's coming through here for you to face your fears. And it's this idea that you already learned one lesson in the past with the Page of Pentacles. So it's like, don't do it again. I'm really getting that. So I hope that that's applying and that's resonating. But I feel like there is such a strong flame though I'm feeling like a fiery energy between Temperance and the spontaneous person. And Virgo, you don't generally strike me as someone who necessarily always gets all fired up and runs after something, but I feel like you are in this case. And the cards are really supporting that and saying just definitely listen to where your intuition is drawing you and to move towards this, because this feels like a good long-term play for you, Virgo. But let's see what else comes through. Spending time with friends. I love that. Working hard. Yup, that sounds like you. Opportunity for money. Whoa. So Virgo, you've got opportunities everywhere around you. And the working hard and the opportunity for money does not surprise me, because that is you. You embody that hardworking, reliable, I show up for work every day type of person. But I get the sense you have a good support system. We already saw that you have this new opportunity for love. So have you been doing a lot of spiritual work lately, Virgo? And are you ascending? Because I feel like you're being rewarded with love, with money, with work, you're being rewarded for being the reliable Virgo person that you are. Wow. Wow. So there's the Magician, King of Swords, and the Six of Wands. I mean, Virgo, this is like the best reading ever, because it feels like you're manifesting in all your people. You're manifesting in everything right now. You're winning at something, and the universe is 100% rewarding you, because we wouldn't see all these opportunities right in front of you if that weren't the case. So it feels like you're on like some kind of a pilgrimage, like you're starting a brand new timeline, or you just went through a portal, or you did something, Virgo, because these cards are almost impossible to fall the way that they have been. And this working hard with the King of Swords, it feels like you've been perhaps expressing yourself. Have you been working on something in having to do with communication? Let's say maybe you're writing a book or a screenplay, or you're writing music, you're writing a song, you're writing poems, you have a platform, you're a public speaker. It feels like there's something that you're communicating to the world. So what this tells me, Virgo, is you might be on your life's purpose. You might be on your life's mission. And maybe some of you know that, maybe some of you don't. But you're about to be greatly rewarded for the work that you've been doing in this particular realm, because it's exactly what you're meant to do. And so I feel like that's why you're being rewarded with love, with money, with friends, with opportunities, with winning. So I don't know, Virgo, you're going to have to let me know, but this is a really good reading, and that is what I have for you. So moving on to Libra. So for Libra, we have child, multitasking, and honest person. So Libra, this feels like your inner child. And this feels like a very pure energy. It's almost giving me a sense of like an earth angel type of energy, Libra. So make that make sense for you. But this multitasking, I'm curious to see what that is because it feels like you're busy, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I also feel like there's a message from your inner child that wants to come through. So let's see what the tarot has. So we have the Chariot, the Hermit, and the Six of Pentacles. Oh, I see what this is. So I feel like with multitasking and honest person, I get the sense that you are perhaps taking on too much of a load, whatever that is. Your plate is too full, and that or you're spinning too many plates in the air and you're feeling maybe perhaps a bit overwhelmed. I feel like your inner child is telling you that the way to move this forward is to ask for help. The Six of Pentacles energy is really saying that perhaps you've been helping too many people and not asking for enough help back for yourself. And so I feel like this is this hermit energy coming in with multitasking is saying to kind of pull that back a little bit. So for example, Libra, if you are always the one who shows up for other people, but you feel like nobody's really been showing up for you, that's the message that your inner child is trying to send you. Your inner child is saying, hey, what about me? Wait, wasn't that a song from the 90s? I don't know. I couldn't even tell you who sings it. But it's something about what about me, and there's a child. But anyway, I'll try to find it later and I'll put it in the comments. But your inner child is saying, what about me? Like we're so busy helping everyone else that I feel like I need to be honest with myself and say that, hold on, I need help here too. And so I think that the success is coming from you pulling some of that energy back. Like you don't have to always show up for everyone else, especially if you don't feel like it, or especially if you're feeling tired. But I think you're starting to see the truth in this situation. I do, especially with honest person here, that you're being honest with yourself, that it's become too much and that it might be time to just focus on you. Focus on you is what this is genuinely saying. And that it's okay for you to ask for help. Maybe perhaps you don't ask for help. And maybe that's why you don't feel stable because you're trying to keep yourself busy, or you're staying too busy with everyone else's problems that you're not really taking care of your inner child. What do you love to do, Libra? What do you want to do? When was the last time you had fun? And what would that be? What would you do if you wanted to have fun? These are the types of hermit messages that you can ask yourself when you do draw back from all of this, what feels like chaos, or at a minimum, it feels like you're just doing a lot for a lot of people. So what else do we have for you? Create. I love that. That could be what your inner child is trying to tell you. Setting boundaries. Yes, Libra, that's exactly what we were talking about. And be the best version of yourself. Exactly. There's a lot of spiritual messages coming through here between the Chariot, the Hermit, create, and be the best version of yourself. These are very spiritually higher-minded ways of thinking. Your inner child is really imploring you right now to create. So we just said, what would you do if you wanted to have fun? What would that even look like? What do you miss doing? How would you take care of yourself? And generally as children, we created something. And whatever that is that you used to love to create as a child is probably part of your soul's mission. And as soon as you set boundaries with all these people that you've been helping, then you can't help but become the best version of yourself because you're pouring back into yourself. And there's only one way to become the best version of yourself, and that is to make sure you are not abandoning yourself. Put yourself first, and then you can show up for everyone else, but not until you put yourself first. So I feel like there are a lot of spiritual lessons, a lot of spiritual wisdom that's coming through this. I do get the sense that this is very strongly about making sure you understand what you deserve, and that sometimes people can, you don't have to You don't have to take on the responsibilities of other people. Setting boundaries is about learning that. Is this my responsibility or is this someone else's responsibility? Am I taking on the emotional weight of this person when they should be taking it on themselves? Am I taking on the financial weight of this person when they should be taking it on themselves? Asking yourself these types of questions is step one. Distancing yourself is step two, and asking yourself what you want to do for fun would be step three. Wow, so there's the Ace of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, and the Nine of Pentacles. So this Ace of Pentacles is saying there's an opportunity here that the universe wants to give you, and look at you sitting pretty over here being the best version of yourself. And even if you're a man, I still think you're pretty, so that applies. But this is very clear to me, Libra, that you struggle perhaps with setting boundaries with other people, but the universe is very strongly saying, yes, but this is your lesson. This is your spiritual lesson, Libra, to not limit yourself, say no. Saying no is difficult, especially if you've never learned how to. It is very difficult saying no, but it's important that you learn, because that's when your rewards are going to come in, because that is the spiritual ascension when you learn to say no. It's very empowering. It puts you back in control of your own life. And then you can start to create the things. There's money opportunities here. We don't see the Ace of Pentacles unless there is one. So there may be something you already know that you can create and make money. And then therefore it sends you off in this direction of being the best version of you, taking care of yourself first. The Nine of Pentacles is the card of taking care of yourself first. And that's what we're talking about. And understanding that the Eight of Swords energy is really just a limited belief that you have about yourself. And that you don't have to stay in this energy of helping everyone else out. You can walk away from that. Now, it's not going to be easy to say no if you've never said no, or you don't know how to say no, or you're worried about the reactions of the people you're going to say no to. But spiritual lessons aren't meant to be easy. They're meant to test you. They're meant to see if you're paying attention. They're meant to see if you're gaining that wisdom that you need. And then the universe obviously wants to reward you, Libra, because it's right here. There's rewards all around you once you set boundaries with whatever this particular environment is that you're doing too much. So that is what I have for you, Libra. So moving on to Scorpio. So for Scorpio, we have not lowering your standards. Love that. Compromise, interesting. And learn the lesson. Oh, okay. So Scorpio, this could be that you are not compromising in a situation. This is interesting. We'll have to see what the tarot says. It feels like the spiritual lesson in this particular situation is to compromise. There's something about perhaps being the bigger person. Maybe there's someone petty in your energy who keeps poking at you. It feels like there's something here, though, that the universe is trying, your spirit team is trying to tell you something about a situation that you're in that perhaps you feel, maybe you're feeling a bit bitter about. I'm getting like a resentment or something with not lowering your standards. Maybe somebody said something to you that really rubbed you the wrong way, but I do feel like there's some lesson here that your spirit team is trying to convey. Ace of Swords, so there's that truth that we were just saying. There's some message that your team wants to get to you. Oh, wow, 10 of Pentacles, the High Priestess. Well, this is certainly going to be about using your intuition to get the message from your spirit team. The 10 of Pentacles means there's assets involved. So make this make sense for you, Scorpio. I mean, this could be a divorce. This could be an inheritance. This could be a business. This could be a home. Assets is the best way I can describe this. But it feels like there is something here that there's been fighting about. There's been some kind of discord about. And it feels like perhaps you don't want to compromise on something because you feel you're lowering your standards. But I do get the sense that your spirit team is asking you to compromise in this situation because that is the lesson. And I will always say that spiritual lessons are never easy. They're always very difficult. And I feel like in this case, especially because there's a 10 of Pentacles here. I feel like if you learn the lesson, you ascend, you compromise, you do whatever you need to get yourself through this particular situation, that there's going to be rewards for you because you learned the lesson. There's always rewards at the end of the day if you're ascending, if you're moving through your spiritual textbook and taking the tests and learning them, which I feel like that's you're in the middle of because we have learned the lesson. So Scorpio, it feels like there's something here that you feel you don't want to lower your standards on. Your spirit team is asking you to do just that. And then you'll get those rewards later. But really listen to your intuition and ask your spirit team even directly for help, because they will and they do. So what else do we have for Scorpio? So we have generous person, hardworking person, and don't let confusion stop you. So, I mean, obviously this is describing you. You're in a very grounded energy right now, and you do have this 10 of Pentacles here too. I feel like you take care of people. Maybe you took care of a situation having to do with these assets. Maybe you were the hardest working one, which is why you're like, well, wait a second. I'm the one who did all the work. I'm the one who took care of everybody. I'm the one who did all this, this, and that. And so why do I have to compromise? And your spirit team is saying, don't overthink this. Don't overthink it. Split it up, whatever you have to do. Split the assets, move on with your life, as difficult as that is. But the point is, you will be rewarded for learning the spiritual lesson. That don't let these assets in this situation confuse you into thinking that's more important than learning the lesson. So Scorpio, this is a very interesting message that is coming through. I'll be curious to see what this is for you. But it does feel like there is some kind of fortune here involved with this. If this is, maybe this is an inheritance, make it make sense for your situation, but be willing to give some of this away or compromise some of this so that you can receive the spiritual blessings that really want to come through. Interesting, Scorpio. So that is what I have for you. So moving on to Sagittarius, we have let it go, believe in your dreams, and control your impulses. Sagittarius, this feels like a spiritual lesson to me. There's a lot of spiritual wisdom that's coming through here and even some advice. So there may be something that you are trying to control, or something that you're holding on to, something that you just are afraid to release it. I feel you grasping onto something for dear life here, Sagittarius, but this is saying the spiritually wise thing to do is to let it go. And if there's something else in your world that drives you, something you believe in, something you're good at, some talent you have, some skill that you have, something you love to do as a child, I mean, you'll know what that is for you. But this is saying focus on that and let go of whatever this is that you are really kind of desperately holding on to, and focus on your dreams. That's the first message that's coming through for you. 3 of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, and the Lovers. We're going to flip that over. For some of you, this has to do with another person because we're seeing the Lovers and the 3 of Pentacles. So it could be an interpersonal relationship. There's some person you're holding on to. You really want to make this work. You want to cooperate. You want to keep going back to the drawing board, perhaps with this person. But this is very clearly with the 8 of Cups saying it's time to move on. But don't just move away from this. Move towards something else. Move towards your dreams is what this is really telling me. I feel like there is something here that you're meant to do, but as long as you're holding on to this situation, it's like stopping you from doing it. So I feel like you're really being spiritually guided right now by your team to move towards something. So what else do we have for Sagittarius? So we have waiting patiently, manipulating, and keep your hopes high. So this does feel like this is an interpersonal relationship for you, Sagittarius, one where perhaps you just keep waiting for this person to change. Does that sound familiar to you, Sagittarius? Do you wait for this person to change? Do you keep going back to the drawing board and saying, well, hold on, what if we do it this way? What if we look at the relationship this way? What if we look at the situation this way? Again, the advice is saying to move away, trust what you already know. That was somebody else's too. Was that Taurus? I don't remember, but there was a message here for someone, another sign too, about trust what this person, this situation has already shown you. Trust what you already know and keep your hopes high about moving towards something else. But let's see what the tarot has here too. So we have King of Wands, Two of Cups, and Death. Yeah, this feels to me like a person who, the King of Wands in a love reading, which I'm assuming this is now for you, Sagittarius, that this is a person you're holding on to because you think they're going to change. King of Wands generally doesn't change. The King of Wands is very set in their ways, and it doesn't matter the gender. This is the person you're dealing with. They're set in their ways. They don't like to change. They do what they want. They don't take no for an answer. It's this type of really kind of energy that feels a bit fixed. And so I feel like no matter what you do to try to get this person to change or see it from your perspective, your spirit team is saying this is why you have to let this go. The Death card is here saying this is done like dinner. This is the end of this situation. But from death is always a rebirth. And I feel like you are rebirthing yourself, Sagittarius, by following your dreams. It feels like there is something clearly here that you're meant to do. I think you know what that is. And I think you know that by liberating yourself from this particular situation is the thing that's going to help you follow your dreams. It's going to change your life. I think you're going to be a completely unrecognizable version of yourself if you were to let this go. But I feel like there's so much despair for you in letting this go. And it could be because you've invested a certain amount of time or energy or whatever it is that you invested in this person. You really wanted it to go a certain way. But your spirit team is saying, let it go, because you're about to walk into the greatest version of yourself ever. And it feels like there's some kind of dream you're meant to follow. So that's your advice from the cards, Sagittarius. And that is what I have for you. So let's move on to Capricorn. So for Capricorn, we have stay positive, getting what you want, and chase your dreams. Wow. So Capricorn, is there something that you really want to do, but perhaps you feel like you can't do it? Because that's the first message that I'm getting, is that there's something here you want to do as far as chasing your dreams, but perhaps you haven't started yet. But it feels like there's a little bit of how am I going to do that type of energy coming through. Let's see what the tarot says. So we have 8 of Wands, 6 of Cups, and the Queen of Swords. So whatever this is, it can go the distance. That is a for sure, because we have this 8 of Wands here. That is a card of everything's in alignment. You have all, like, it's like driving down the road and every light turns green. That's what the 8 of Wands is. And so I feel like whatever this is that you're meant to do, if you are conflicted about it, the cards are saying don't be conflicted about this. This is your shot right now. Now is the time to shoot your shot with this chase your dreams. With the 6 of Cups here, it feels like there could be something that you did in the past, something you know you were good at, something even going back to childhood, something that you can cultivate that you were always very good at. I feel like this is very strongly coming through here. And with the Queen of Swords energy, and this isn't going to be for all of you Capricorns, but I feel like this is about some kind of communication. Perhaps, are you good at speaking? Are you good at writing? Are you good at mediating? Are you good at balancing things and helping people? I mean, make that make sense for you, but this Queen of Swords didn't just randomly show up here. There's a reason that this Queen of Swords is here. And it could just be about being truthful and honest with yourself. about what it is you can do, and that you can get what you want, and you are good at this, and you can cultivate this particular skill. And it is time for you to shoot your shot in this very specific context. I'm trying to think what else this Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords is just about trust. It's about trusting yourself, but it's also about expressing yourself. So again, if you are writing something or speaking something, make that make sense for you. But this is a very greenest of lights for you, Capricorn. All right, what else do I have for Capricorn? So, curious person, seeing the way clearly. Oh, this is probably more of that same message for you, Capricorn. It's strong. And being rejected, I got it. Maybe in the past, when the time wasn't right, it didn't work. So maybe you wrote the book, but the book never got published. Well, this is saying that now get curious about it again. This curious person and this Six of Cups are giving me very similar energies, in the sense that it feels like you're meant to go back to being in like a childlike energy, because then you're going to see that the green lights are all here. And don't allow a rejection in the past, whatever that was for you specifically, Capricorn. Don't allow that to control the present day situation. And so this is about taking control back and saying, so what? That one book didn't get published, or it didn't get published then, but I'm going to put it back out there now. I'll publish it myself. I'll start my own platform. I'll start my own podcast, whatever that is. But this is saying, get that childlike curiosity about a different way to do it. Maybe there was another way that didn't work, but there's always another way. And that's what this is saying, Capricorn. There is another way that's full of green lights for you. So we have the Tower, King of Cups, and the Nine of Wands. So, okay, this seems clear to me that these Nine of Wands, you set up this boundary because of whatever didn't go your way in the past. You're saying to yourself, well, I'm not putting myself back in that energy. I'm not going back there. I'm not doing this. And I feel that's why we had this Stay Positive card, or why I was feeling like you feel like this is never going to work. I can't do this. This Tower is saying, tear down those constructs, tear down that way of thinking that it's always going to go this way, that you're always going to be rejected, or that it's never going to work. This King of Cups uses their very psychic skills. The King of Cups is one of the most psychic court cards in the deck. But it's also about curiosity. It's also about what you love to do. And so don't allow other people who perhaps have rejected you or in the past, don't allow that to change the way of knowing that there is another way that is full of green lights. So hopefully this is making sense. I think it does. That you can see there's another way. You're getting very curious about it. Your inner child is waking you up a bit. You understand that the past does not at all dictate the future. And that if there is a fear here, the Tower is going to come down to just completely destroy that fear that you have, so that you can pursue this and see the way clearly. Because right now is the time, Capricorn. These cards couldn't have been more clear. It is time to shoot your shot with whatever this is. So that is what I have for you, Capricorn. So moving on to Aquarius. So for Aquarius, we have celebrating, changing plans, and having a happy family. So the celebrating and the changing plans is giving me this intuitive message, Aquarius, that it feels like you've reached a milestone when it comes to something. And because you've hit that milestone, you may be thinking to yourself, okay, now it's time for me to do something else. For some of you, maybe you are going to start a family, or maybe you are going to focus more on your family or have more family time. This could even be time with friends. It doesn't necessarily have to be family, because we have friends that are like family as well. But I feel like the point is you've hit some milestones, so it feels like you're going to spend some more relaxing time now. So whatever this is for you, you've done something, you've hit a goal, you're proud of yourself, you're celebrating that, and now you're saying, okay, well, now I'm going to switch my priorities to something else. So we have the Hierophant, Seven of Swords, and the Five of Swords. Well, this is certainly about a spiritual lesson, for sure, Aquarius. There's something here. It almost feels to me like you're strategizing something, because whatever this goal is that you reached, there was something that was not above board. Something went on behind your back. Something was not right. So hopefully this is resonating and making sense for you. But whatever that was, if it was a work situation, you had people backstabbing you, or maybe someone took the credit for the work that you did, or you were promised a raise and you didn't get it. So again, make this make sense for you. But there is something underhanded that happened in this environment, and that was a spiritual lesson for you. And maybe, and I'm just giving you random examples so you can put this in the context of your own life, Aquarius. But it feels to me like you may have been not focusing on the other parts of your life. Maybe you were not prioritizing family, or not prioritizing your downtime, or not prioritizing your friends, or not prioritizing your sleep, whatever that is for you. Make it make sense for you. But that was the lesson. The lesson was you cannot just continue to throw yourself into your goals, especially when you're working with underhanded people, that you have to balance. There should be a better work-life balance, is what this is really giving me, Aquarius. So, but all of these swords, they don't feel good. They both of these showed up in your reading. And it feels like there are just people around you who complain or like attention or are backbiters, or I don't know, but I can see why you're changing your plans now and you're focusing on something else. That's for sure. So what else do we have for Aquarius? Hurting from heartbreak. So whatever these people did, or this person did, it left you feeling pretty brokenhearted. Then we have listen to your higher self and having many choices. And this is what we were just saying. You are changing your plans right now. You're reprioritizing whatever this was that broke your heart. Whoever these people were, or this person is who did this to you, you're understanding. Your higher self is saying, you don't have to be here. But I already see you making that shift, Aquarius. I see you shifting towards understanding that there are other jobs, there are other employees, there are other coworkers, there are other love interests, if this is a love interest for you, that you can move away from that and reprioritize yourself. So then we have the Hanged Man. Yep, that perspective is changing. You're shifting. Page of Cups and the 10 of Cups. Wow, this is that happy family. Okay, so Aquarius, this is the same message. That you're seeing this differently now. You're saying, you know what? I didn't need to put so much emphasis on whatever that was. I was putting so much emphasis on because it only ended up breaking my heart. And your inner child and your higher self are both here saying, just go with the flow. Understand, trust what you already know. This person or these people already showed you who they are. So trust what you know. Focus on yourself, focus on your inner child. Perhaps for some of you, these are actual children. These could be your children that you're saying, you know what? I spent so much time at work. I'm really going to focus on my children now. It could very specifically be that. And if it's not, it's just about being a child, being carefree, taking care of yourself, doing the things you love with the people you love, and really kind of learning that lesson that to prioritize something too heavily in one, when the scales are unbalanced, karma, the universe is going to come in to rebalance it. And sometimes it's not fun and sometimes it's not easy, but it was the way to perhaps show you that you may have been prioritizing the wrong things. So that's interesting, Aquarius. Please let me know how that was resonant for you. And we will move on to Pisces. So for Pisces, we have reliable person, adventurous person, and meditate. So there, I feel a pull, Pisces, which tells me that you might be trying to decide between showing up for something and being being the person who, and here, this is just a random example, Pisces, but being the person who shows up for work every day, the person who shows up for other people every day, shows up for their friends, shows up for their family, shows up and crosses their T's and dots their I's, or doing something spontaneous and not showing up today. Don't show up today because I just don't feel like it. I feel like spending the whole day in bed, or I feel like going for a hike, or I feel like taking a road trip by myself. I feel like that's the energy you're in right now, Pisces, that you may be getting tired of showing up every day and you want to do something else. Meditate is the advice that's coming through right away, is just to get quiet, talk to your spirit team. For those of you who do talk to your spirit team, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who have never spoken to your spirit team, just say it out loud, or, to yourself. It doesn't matter because it works either way. But just say, spirit team, can I have some help? And I need to know what to do. And you'll start to get signs. It's amazing. You will be amazed. But regardless, your advice is to meditate and to do that. Try to get those intuitive pings. Try to understand, okay, why do I feel like I need to show up? Why do I feel like I need a break from this today? Whatever that is for you, Pisces. So there's the Ace of Cups, Queen of Wands, and the Eight of Pentacles. So obviously, this reliable person in the Eight of Pentacles are telling me the same thing, that you work hard. You keep your head down, you do the hard work, you show up every day. I think there's a person who just showed up for you, Pisces. I do, because Ace of Cups and Queen of Wands are here. And don't let the Queen confuse you. This Queen of Wands, regardless of gender, is a person who just showed up in your life. So if you have a new love interest or a new friend or someone who's around you that makes you feel like being spontaneous, makes you feel like being adventurous, with this Ace of Cups here, the cards are saying, I would go do that. I would go do that. The Ace of Cups is a good opportunity from the universe. I don't get the sense that this person is trying to lead you astray or take you in the wrong direction or get you fired from your job. But if you do want to take a day off of work and spend time with this person instead of showing up like you do every day, you show up every day doing this, it's okay. I'm not saying go quit your job and run off with this person. I'm saying just go on an adventure with this person and go back to work the next day or whatever that looks like for you. But I feel this pull that there's almost like a guilty feeling coming over you that, well, I can't do that. I have to do this. But ask yourself, be honest with yourself. Why? Do you have days off that you can take? Are you entitled to personal days? So be honest with yourself, because sometimes I think the most reliable people put so much pressure on themselves to be reliable that they forget that it's okay to not show up. And in fact, it makes you better when you go back to work than if you went to work while thinking about this person, right? So I think you understand. So what else do we have for Pisces? We have detaching, resting, I love it, and not making a decision. That's that pull. I was getting that. Remember I said I feel like you're having a tug of war with yourself about detaching from this or resting with this person, being more spontaneous, taking a break from this thing that you do every day that you show up for. So make it make sense for you, because it doesn't necessarily have to be work. It can just be the thing that you show up for every day or consistently. But I think there's a part of you who wants to detach from this person because I feel like you feel like that person is trouble, or that this person is going to somehow derail your life or derail your plan. And that's why you're avoiding making a decision, because you really like this new person who's in your energy. So I get the sense that this is a time for you to really ask your spirit team, what should I do? Because I think your spirit team is going to show you that you can have both. You can continue to show up for work every day, using that example, but also having a love interest. You can have both. But I feel like there's something inside of you that you haven't had that aha moment yet, that, oh yeah, I can. Maybe it's been so long, or maybe you have people who got you in trouble at work in the past, or you've lost your job because you lost yourself in relationships in the past. But there's something there that's not allowing you to really see this from a totally sober viewpoint and saying, oh yeah, I can do both. Taking one day off is not going to change anything. So then we have the Empress, the Ace of Wands, and the Two of Wands. This is still about not making a decision. But I see you expanding. I feel like this is a spiritual lesson for a lot of you. I do. I get the sense that with this Empress card here, it feels like you are really expanding your awareness when it comes to what I was just saying. That perhaps you limited yourself into thinking, well, if I take a day off of work, then I'm somehow letting myself down. And that just isn't the case. You have to show up for yourself in other ways too. And if it means being spontaneous, or adventurous was the word, adventurous. The Ace of Wands is the most adventurous card. This is an opportunity for adventure. You also have an Ace of Cups, so now I know for sure this is not a bad idea because the universe doesn't give you these aces unless it's a good idea. So the universe is really saying, the cards are really saying, take this opportunity. This person is a blessing for you. Don't overlook this blessing. See this as a spiritual lesson. Understand that it's okay. You can choose yourself in different ways. So if you think that being the one who shows up to work every day is the way to show up for yourself, there are other ways to show up for yourself that will make you a better worker in the long run because it's a more well-rounded type of energy that you're in. You can be reliable and adventurous, and you can integrate those and become both, where you don't have to pick one. You don't have to pull in two different directions and decide which part of yourself you want to be loyal to. Integrate them and just be loyal to all of you. So that was interesting, Pisces. So that is what I have for you. Please let me know how this was resonant for you, and we will do this again sometime. Thanks, everybody. Bye.